Good afternoon and welcome to this webinar about WorkPoint Express. I can see that we just still have people joining in, and that's very nice. But I'll just get started and give you a bit of a welcome. This webinar is about WorkPoint Express, which is really one of the most well-known and well-used WorkPoint products that we have in our product range. This webinar here is intended to give potential and new users a high-level intro to WorkPoint Express, and we'll have a bit of demonstrations of what it is and what it can do for you. And also for those of our existing customers who have decided to join us this afternoon. I hope that you will enjoy getting a bit of a catch-up on some of the newest features that we have added to WorkPoint Express over the past few months, as well as a look at some of the news coming up in the near-term future. Now, before we get started, I just have a bit of practical information. First of all, this webinar is being recorded and it will be made publicly available to you afterwards. So no worries if you have a colleague or someone who couldn't make it, they can rewatch it or watch it afterwards. Secondly, if you have questions, please use the Q&A function here in Teams. You should be able to find it in the right side of the meeting window. And we will take questions in the end of the webinar, but just post them as they come to you. Just allow me to just say again, welcome, and my name is Simone Lafontaine. I'm the Commercial Product Manager here with WorkPoint, and I will take you through some of today's presentation, along with my colleague, Allan Junker Pedersen, who is our Technical Product Manager. He will cover some of the demonstrations that we will do throughout the webinar. Now, some of the topics that we will go over today is, first of all, a general introduction to WorkPoint Express. What is it? What can it do? What are some of the key applications that we sort of tap into with this product? And then we'll also explore our functions for email management. How can WorkPoint Email Manager help you? What's the benefits of it? What value does it bring to organizations? And we'll also spice that up with a bit of demo. And lastly, we will cover a few new and upcoming features in WorkPoint Express. And also here, once again, we have a bit of a demo for you to not just let this webinar be completely slide heavy, but to see things in action. But before we dive straight into WorkPoint Express, I just want to briefly give a presentation of who we here at WorkPoint are, for those who might be joining in for the first time on one of these webinars that we are hosting quite frequently. WorkPoint is a Danish software company. We are very cloud focused, and we have been developing our products for more than 25 years. We are very sort of interlinked with the whole Microsoft 365 platform, and we're also a Microsoft 365 Gold partner. Partnership is really something that sits in the DNA of WorkPoint, because we also have partners across different localizations, both nationally here in Denmark, but also globally, that implement WorkPoint solutions with our various customers. So we have a strong partnership with our partners. They provide us insight into what the customers, how they are using and working in WorkPoint. As a WorkPoint customer, you have not just the attention of your direct partner, but also of us. And we have a strong passion for continuing to educate our partners in how to best implement WorkPoint, and also to get them updated on what's happening in WorkPoint, what functions and features are we continuously adding, and letting them be well informed about what's going on in the product. A bit of flashing here. We have achieved a few sort of certifications over the years, and the one that we are especially very fond of is of course the double gold partner certification that we have with Microsoft. Now, our customers, they span widely across different both disciplines and different industries. And one thing they have in common, or actually a few things that they have in common, is that they have a Microsoft 365 strategy and a need for governance and for business solutions. So those are some of the key things that sort of indicate who are the customers that really can attain benefits from WorkPoint, because the Microsoft 365 strategy is really something that we are tapping into and building upon. Secondly, it's some key indicators or key traits of our customers is that they are document and knowledge centric, that they really have a lot of information and they want to make that information widely available to their users. And that's really where WorkPoint come in, because that's in our core DNA, is to take information and make it available to those users who need it and who can work with it, because that's the way that information turns into value. So with that introduction covered, I hope you have a little bit of a feel for, okay, what is it that we are tapping into? I want to dive into Express. Now, WorkPoint for us is, as I just mentioned, is all about information. It's about keeping information available and accessible to the right people, because that's how we ensure that information is well governed and well managed, so that users can get an overview of what information they have and what information that they need, and especially where they need it. That's really a core thing to us. What if you have information that you know of, but that it's hard to reach? Chances are that you are gonna maybe not gonna reach for it as easily as if it had been right next to you. This philosophy is what we sort of call a bit of the Express experience, because we want to bring information close to the user in the interface that they are working in. And for a lot of people these days, Outlook, Word, and Excel are some of, if not the key interfaces of the workday, especially when it comes to creating documents such as contracts or customer presentations or budgets for projects or quotes for clients, but also when collaborating and communicating with your clients and your customers and your colleagues. So the whole Microsoft 365, sort of those, the key tools on that has become the baseline for work for a lot of users. And that's why we, with our WorkPoint Express plugin for the Microsoft 365 platform, we have brought organizations their entire document management solution right into those tools that they already know, because those are the places that our customers work, and it's the places that they know. So that's the whole philosophy behind WorkPoint Express. It's essentially a gateway into your WorkPoint solution. It brings it directly at your right hand or left hand, depending on how you work. So we have created almost a shortcut from Outlook or from Word, Excel, and PowerPoint directly into your WorkPoint solution. You can also have it as a desktop client that you can keep open regardless of what other tools that you're working in. So it's really your choice. For us, we have taken a look at what is the user doing mostly where they're working. So in Outlook, we made it easy to manage attachments, to share links to documents sitting in your WorkPoint solution, to update information about contacts or projects and clients, and of course also managing emails, because those are some of the key work processes that we can see users are sort of doing in this interface. And in Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, you need quick access to document templates that you might have, and of course, be able to easily upload new documents and materials that you're producing to your WorkPoint solution. Because that way, you know that it's located in the right place and it's available to your colleagues or to your clients who might be accessing your project as an external user. So you need really easiness, and that's what we try to bring with Express. One of the key things for us is that users should be able to do all of this and a whole lot more without having to navigate between different tools. Managing documents and information should also require a minimal effort. Because if it's a hassle or it's hard to do, chances are that users will humanly cut corners and you'll end up with a mess of your files spread across local disk drives or sitting in emails where they are unreachable to others or they are a hassle to dig out. So coming back to this whole thing about knowledge and information, our philosophy and our sort of aim is to make that accessible and reachable to others, as I mentioned in the beginning. And that's why it should be easy for you to make sure that all information is available in the places where it should be. Another thing that is very key for us is also to make sure that users are only prompted for the information that WorkPoint as a solution cannot set on its own. It could be that your organization has decided to have a mandatory privacy classification on documents or an annotation on whether a document contains personal information. And in those cases, we have you can set it up so users are only prompted for those informations that are mandatory to enter, and elsewise WorkPoint will set information on the documents or emails automatically. For us, we strive to make document management easy, and one of the ways is to only ask for the needed information. Now, I hope that for those of you joining in who have seen WorkPoint Express before, that this will seem as a bit of a well-known view for you. This is how it looks when you have WorkPoint Express opened and embedded in Outlook. It's designed to feel as a natural extension of Outlook and to be easily available to those users who are working in it. So it feels like you have your whole WorkPoint solution, all your cases, all your clients, all your projects sitting right next to you, and you can just easily either pick information from them or update them with new information. With that bit of introduction, I'll hand the word over to my colleague Allan Junker Pedersen, who will give a short demo of how to work in WorkPoint Express and some of the key features and functions that this well-known and hopefully also well-loved client contains.
Okay, thank you, Simone. And I will try to do a demonstration here of WorkPoint Express. Hopefully you can all see my screen now. Simona has just given you a brief introduction to WorkPoint Express, and WorkPoint Express here in Outlook is this plugin that you see in the right side of the screen. From this plugin, you can actually get access to all your documents, your project, your companies, your cases, or whatever you are working on, and that makes it really easy for the end users to get the information that they need. You are able to search out in the different areas of your solution from here. So for example, I could find a project directly from this. I could search, enter in the title here for the project, and I will find the specific project I was looking for here. From here I can then navigate down into the many different areas that I could have within the project. It could, for example, be that I wanted to look for documents down here, then I can see them here. And for each document, there's actually a lot of things I can do. I can open them and modify them directly from this plugin. So if I click edit here, it will open in Word and I can work on it as usual. So it's very easy for me to get access to the document. I can also convert the document to a PDF. I could also have set the solution up so I could start approval flows and things directly from WorkPoint Express here. It's also possible to do things like copying and cut and paste and so on. So you're able actually to move your documents around if you need that. So most of the things you will do with your document is available directly here. It's also other kind of informations that you could have here. It could be the emails, for example, that you want to save on a project. It could also be other lists like a list of tasks or a risk list that you want to maintain, and all of that can be done directly from WorkPoint Express. For the documents, it's also possible to get a preview of the document directly here. So if I right click and click preview here, you'll see that now the document opens up, and I think I'd choose an empty one, but if I click on the next document down here, you will see there's a preview being loaded directly here in front of you. So it's very easy to quickly see what do I have of information here in the system. And it can even display quite complex scenarios or file types here. So for example, here actually are displaying a preview of an animation that I have here in my project directly. It also works for emails. So if I go to my emails and look for emails, I also get the preview very easily seen here, and I can quickly find the information that I'm looking for. If I go here to the company, for example, I have here, I'm also able to see all the projects that I have for the company. I can find contacts if I have created that for this company, and all of that can be managed here. Some of the newer things that we have added is actually that we have support for views here, so you could have different views of your data. For example, for the project here, I could choose that I only want to see the active projects or my projects. That could be the one where I'm project manager for. Things like that can be filtered directly in the user interface here. And also on a higher level, I can do the same for up here, that I'll only search within some, it could be active companies or active projects or whatever that can be done directly from here. If I want to save something in the system, for example, I'm here standing on a company, I can see emails here. I could take an email from my inbox, and that's where it's really a good thing that is in Outlook. So I could take, let's take this email here. I can drag it directly over to the email area here. I'm being prompted for metadata if there is anything required. In some cases, it's not necessary, so you will not see that. But in that way, you can actually very easily upload an email. You can see here it says testing now down here because it's already uploaded now. So that makes it really easy for the end user to take the emails coming in and out of your mail system and get them journalized for a project, for a case, or wherever you may need to save it for the future. This actually also works if I'm standing here and I want to send a new email. Again, I'm getting access to the Express plugin here. You'll see that it remembers that I was actually located on the email area before on this company. But if I just expand this, you'll see I get access to all the same information directly here. And that means that when you're sending out an email, you can also use information from the system. For example, going to the document library here, I can find a document and then I can just put it into the email. I could also have chosen to right click here and say I want to attach this as a PDF. Then it will convert the Word document to PDF and insert it as an attachment. And it could also be as a link, and then it will just be a link being inserted into the content of the mail. It also works with contacts, for example. So if I had contact registered for this customer here, then I could take the contact and directly add it to the to field up here. So this becomes very easy to close the gap between your business solution and Outlook, where a lot of data naturally will flow. The plugin is also available if you go to Word, for example, Excel, PowerPoint. So if I'm standing in Word, you'll be able to actually to save the Word document that you're working on directly in the system from the same plugin. And you can also just use it to find information in the system that you need while writing a document. There's also a desktop application of Express, meaning that you can run it in your together with your Windows file system, so you can take things from Explorer and just drag and drop files directly into to WorkPoint using this tool. So that was just a very brief introduction to WorkPoint Express and what it is. And of course, there's a lot of more details that we could show you, like favorites and searching down into documents. But this was just a high-level demo of what this plugin is about. So back to you, Simone.
Thank you so much, Alan, for giving this high-level introduction of some of the key functions of WorkPoint Express. Let me just take us back to the slideshow. Good. So moving on, I also want to talk a little bit about one of our other products that work very much together with WorkPoint Express, and that is Email Manager. Emails are valuable, as I say here on the slide, because they contain so much information for us. And WorkPoint Email Manager is a product that is designed to work together with WorkPoint 365 and also WorkPoint Express to bring organizations a way to manage their emails. It's designed for organizations that are looking for a tool to help them easily and logically store emails to the projects and cases that they have internally, so that finding and catching up on information is easy, and you have all the necessary correspondence well documented. Today, emails remain to be one of the key conveyors of information, you can call it, between you and your colleagues, but also between organizations. And this information is valuable and it's very necessary. And while WorkPoint Express makes it easy to update your projects with new information once you get it, say an email from a client that about a project that is going well or that they are happy. The truth is that email correspondences, in addition, still holds a lot, so much more value and insight. And imagine having all of this insight journalized and well kept onto those relevant projects or even to your clients. A use case could be that you have a new key account manager starting with your organization, and she needs to quickly speed up on the relationship between her client and the organization that she has started working for. Now, imagine that she could go in and just catch up on all the email dialogue that has been between the client and the organization, and not just catching up on a few select emails saved by her predecessor, but also those emails between the client and the customer service department or the sales department. Another use case could be that you have a new project manager taking over a project that might not have the most extensive amount of decisions documented previously, or which only have a few draft or incomplete project plans. What if that project manager could go back and easily pinpoint when those decisions were agreed to in past email correspondences? So whilst they were never documented in the project plan, it's very likely that there might be a decision indicator in those past correspondences. If your organization is looking to keep a few select emails, then managing emails manually might be a manager task. But if your organization is looking for a tool to both assist your users in where to journalize their emails, either all emails or just those that your users handpick out, then Email Manager might be a solution to look to. some of the key values that we see WorkPoint Email Manager bringing is security to your whole email backup. Security is very well founded in the whole of WorkPoint. It's one of our core principles, and we have a strong security engine in all of our products. As you have heard before, accessibility and easy accessibility especially is also very much needed and by users, and it's some of the things that we value quite high. And of course, Email Manager does not differ away from this. You can get access to journalized emails both from WorkPoint Express but also from the WorkPoint 365 browser interface if you're working there. It's really up to you, your choice of interface. We also have functionalities for suggesting where emails should be journalized to, and I think we will get a little bit of insight into that in just a few moments, because these suggestions in our mind really lets people save time, because of course, it's nice to be able to navigate to where you think or believe a file or an email sits most logically, but other times it's really nice to just be suggested the right location from the very beginning. We also have some functions that allow sharing inboxes with other select employees. So if you have a colleague on leave, but you know that their inbox needs to continue to be well managed, then we have a very strong feature for that. And lastly, what we call is manageable email management, because having a few emails to handle manually might be okay, but if you have too many emails, then it becomes overwhelming. So we also have functions for automatic email journaling of all emails, which completely can sort of take the hassle out of email management. And through our rule and security engine, you can be sure that they are located in the right places, and also that they are stored safely. To give you a bit of a better feel for how WorkPoint Email Manager works, I'll once again let my colleague Alan take over and give you a demonstration of how to do email management with WorkPoint Email Manager.
Thank you again, Simone. So I'll show you some of the key feature of Email Manager and some of the nice things that this can help you with. And it's also something that we are still looking at in Outlook, and we're still seeing Express because that's a big part of this. But one of the things you can see here is that, for example, that this email I got from Simone earlier today is being categorized. It says it's journalized in WorkPoint. So this flag was something that was set automatically by the system to let me know that this has actually been saved for me. And this is not only for if I'm doing this. So let's take an example that we have another colleague, that could be our colleague Anders. He will send an email to me and Simone, and then Simone will journalize the email for the project where it belongs. And I will quickly after see that in my inbox that this mail has actually been journalized by a colleague of mine. So I know that someone has taken care of this already. And one of the things I can see when I'm clicking on the mail and seeing the preview of it here is that down below we have this panel where I can see that, well, this has actually been saved here on this company called Buildrun. So I know that this mail is saved. I know where it is saved by now. And that's a big help. So it's easy for me to not do things that my colleague has already done, and also to maybe find the relevant project or a company related to that email, so I can look up other information. Because if I click on this, what will happen is that the Express will actually navigate to that, and I can find all information about the location where the email has been saved, and not only including the mail itself, which you can see here. One of the other great feature is that we we know when the system knows that things are being saved in WorkPoint, we are also able to provide you with some suggestions for where to save yours. So in this case, I actually got a mail here from Simone, and I took that mail and saved it to this Buildrun company here, because this is where it belongs. Later, I received yet another mail, and when I click on that, this has not been saved anywhere. I can see there's no flag on it, and there's no journal information down here below. So it's not being saved yet. But because I got a mail previously from Simone, and which was saved on this Buildrun company, I can click here on the suggestion tab here in Express, and the system will now suggest me where to save this. And it will immediately suggest Buildrun as an example, and I can choose that and take the mail and drag it directly over to the email tab if I wanted that. So in that way, the system using Email Manager are actually capable of suggesting where to save your mails based on your previous actions in the system. So that's some of the latest things we have added for email managers that I just wanted to highlight. And there's of course also much more to that. I will come back to another way of seeing the suggestion in a demo just in some minutes, but for now I'll go back to Simone.
Thank you, Alan. And let me just dive back into to the slides once again. So we had a short tour of WorkPoint Email Manager to give you a bit of a feel for what it can do and how it works journalizing emails. I hope that those of you joining in felt that it actually was quite easy, because that's really our biggest intent. It should be easy to manage emails. It shouldn't be a hassle, because if it becomes a hassle, then it also becomes something that people will avoid doing. And that's the whole point of Email Manager. Easiness, but with a lot of options for ensuring that you have the right information and data saved. And now I just want to catch up a little bit on our WorkPoint Express roadmap. Both some of the newest features, but also a few of those coming in the next period. So this preview function that Alan showed earlier on is actually one of the newer functions. Previously, it was only possible to have these kind of previews in our browser interface, but now, as you saw, it's easy and possible to get previews of your emails and documents directly in WorkPoint Express. So you save time by not having to open and a lot of different emails to find the exact one that you were looking for. We have also made it possible to launch Power Apps directly from WorkPoint Express. And Power Apps is, of course, the Microsoft Power Platform Power App tool that can be built for organizations to handle various forms or almost these wizard-like functions. They can be sort of launched and also sort of carried out directly from WorkPoint Express now. We also have a very new feature across the whole WorkPoint platform, which is adaptive cards that allows a very customizational presentation of all kinds of elements like projects or clients and customers. So you can decide what information do you want to have presented about, say, a project. And also, if you know that you have a few key actions that you always need to do, for example, it could be call the project manager or to write a quote for your projects, you can actually have small buttons directly shown along with your project that will sort of look into WorkPoint and say, okay, if it's for example, create a quote, then and you have a document template for that. then it will launch the document or create the quote based on that template. We also have quite a few things coming up on the whole email management topic. And one of them that will come later is the option to have a synchronization. It sounds a little bit technical, but have a synchronization between your personal email folders in Outlook and WorkPoint. That could be if you are, for example, are the main project manager or the only project manager on a project, and you already have a lot of emails stored in your own personal sort of Outlook folders, and you have perhaps also some rules set up for which emails should go into which of your folders. So as coming back to one of the previous points, that might be fine if it's only you working on it, but when you have a colleague taking over or joining in, that colleague wants to be able to have all of those or perhaps read all of those emails as well. So it will be possible to create a sort of a link between your own email folder and a project in WorkPoint. So all the emails will be synced from your personal folder over into WorkPoint. And that will sort of continue. So once you add new emails to that folder, they will be synced over to WorkPoint. Another thing that we have been working on for some time is to create a more user-friendly and new workflow for how to journalize not just emails but also attachments. And I know we will see that in just a second. We want to streamline the experience. We want to make it even more easy and more simple, but without losing the options for adding information or perhaps also handling those few times where you might have a little bit of a not a complicated but a less than straightforward need for journalizing emails and attachments. It could be that you want to have your email journalized into one place, one project, but that your attachment should go to another project. Or it could also be that you have received a confirmation email from a client saying that they accepted both of the offers that you sent previously for 2 different projects. And in addition, they also send you a spreadsheet to complete regarding information about a partnership. That might be different. It's a lot of information stored in one email, and that might and it will probably relate to different projects. So we will show you a way to, or we have made a way to easily journalize the same email to different projects and also the attachment to perhaps a third one. And lastly, there will also come a function to have a stronger relation between emails and attachments which have been journalized separately. Because once in a while you need to have the emails in one place and you want to extract your attachment and put them somewhere else. And within a few days, you might be able to recall which email contained which attachment, but once the project moves on, it becomes a bit of a headache if you have to keep all of that those connections in your head. So we will come with a stronger way to bind emails and attachments together, even though they are stored different places. And to treat you with a demonstration of some of these things, I will once again let Allan take the screen and give you a bit of a demonstration.
Thank you, Simone. So we are back here in Outlook. And the first thing I will show you is this new way of journalizing thing, also journalizing thing where it's multiple emails, maybe it's also with attachments and so on. And how could we do that in an easy way? So here I've highlighted 3 different emails that I want to save in the system. I have a button up here called Quick Journalize, but it's also available as a keyboard shortcut. So I could press Control J. And then this dialog pops up, and that's one of the latest additions to WorkPoint that we have added this one, or we actually have extended the one we had before. But what you can see here is that the emails now has been selected here, and there's also some attachment. And what that means is that it can actually take these emails, and I can choose where to save them, and then I can also choose places to save the document if I want. If we look down below here, it uses suggestion again, as I showed you before, so it actually will suggest to save these things on a company. And if that's not the right place, I could search for any place myself here and find a specific company, open that up and click emails and say I want to add this as a destination. You can see it now being added up here. And maybe I also want this email actually to go into this location here. So I can actually add multiple location in one step here. And then finally, I can say that if I remove this check here and say this document needs to be saved into this library as well, and I can add that. So now I have set up everything about where do I want to save this mails and attachment. And if I click Journalize now, it will then start journalizing all this information to the right location. So that makes it quite easy to manage a big set of emails that you want to save. And if I wanted to add extra information, it could be classification to documents or similar. I can also do it directly from this form using this set properties here. So take a look at Control J when you're using Express, then you will see this feature that can very easily help you a lot by saving things into WorkPoint. Another thing that Simone mentioned was the ability to extend WorkPoint Express with custom controls. So let's take an example here where I will search for a WorkPoint. Here on my configuration, I have added two things here below that are not usually there. Company info and search CVR. CVR is this register we have of all company information in Denmark. If I click on that, you'll actually see now that a window is loading down here where it will fetch information about the company from a website. So I can get some public information about the company here. And if I right click it and open it in a browser, what you'll see here is that this is actually just a web page that we are embedding into Express, but it gives the user a very good experience because you can then add tools, add different overviews directly to a place here. It could also be other systems that you have in your environment that could be linked like this. It could be an ERP system that you want to display a dashboard for using this feature. Another scenario it could be used for was to embed Power Apps directly in here. So in this example, I'm actually loading in a Power App directly on the company here. And the Power App here is displaying a map of the address of the company, and also have some different buttons you could click. For example, if I want to change stage or open the company or whatever you could think of, you could actually build that into your own application. This could also be integration to other system. It could be dashboards you want to display using a Power Apps, or creating custom forms for something you wanted to do on the site where you are here. It could be for managing tasks, for example, getting an overview of task, or pretty much what you can think of. So this gives you a lot of opportunities on how to tailor fit your WorkPoint Express experience to your business solution. So that was it for the demo for today. So back to you, Simone.
Thank you, Alan, once again. I hope this gave a little bit of a sneak peek and some inspiration for those joining in about what you can do with some of the upcoming functions here in WorkPoint. Now we have time for some questions, if there have been any throughout the session. Let me just have a look. As of now, we don't have any questions, but by all means, please use the Q&A function out in the right side of your Teams window. You can submit questions. It could be if you want a deep dive on some of the information that we have shared today, or if you're curious about whether or not WorkPoint could facilitate some of those key application scenarios that you have. I'll just let the Q&A stay open for just a few brief minutes, and say in the meantime say thank you to all of those of you who joined for this webinar. We are really happy to see so many of our current customers being happy about the WorkPoint Express, and also to see that we can continue to grow it more and more. We have a question from one of the participants here in terms of whether the document preview, which version it's available in, and for those existing customers, it is available from version 6.0 and forwards. So it's out now in the current available version of WorkPoint Express. And if I'll just see if there comes anything in, but if you have any trouble as a configurator of WorkPoint setting it up, we have an article that also covers how the document preview is managed. But if there are no further questions, let me just check. Then I will say thank you very much for joining once again. And if you have joined in and feel interested in about what WorkPoint can do for you, and how WorkPoint Express can also help your colleagues and yourself and your users to have a direct access to your whole document and project management solution, then reach out by all means. You can check us out on various web pages and our LinkedIn and Twitter and so forth. And elsewise, I just want to conclude by saying thank you for joining, and I hope I will see you all in the next webinar. Take care. Bye-bye.